Sue, help me out. I mean, I'm a millennial. You can call me Millennial Michelson. And well, Sue, what are you? Are you a boomer? Are you a zoomer? What are you?
I'm actually on the bubble between the boomers and the Gen X's. So depending on who's in the most trouble, like everyone's kind of down on boomers right now. So I'm a Gen Xer.
I feel like as a millennial, we get blamed for a lot. We got the student loan debt, the pumpkin spice lattes, but we're really burning ourselves out just trying to make it in this country. Am I the only one burnt out right now?
No, you're not. In fact, you're representative of an entire generation of burnouts, not dropouts, but burnouts. And I spoke with author Helen Petersen. Last year, she wrote a column for BuzzFeed, and it was so successful it turned into a book called Can't Even: How Millennials Became the Burnout Generation, and we talked about burnout.
Of course I was burnt out. It's just that I didn't recognize the symptoms as what I thought burnout was. I thought burnout was you collapsed, like you actually reached this point where you couldn't work anymore. And really, I think that burnout, and especially how many of us experience today, is this feeling of like you hit the wall and then instead of falling down, you scale the wall and you keep going.
I mean, every generation has their challenges to deal with. I mean, our grandparents lived through a time of extreme poverty in the country. But yeah, we're born into a world that's connected in ways that can be overwhelming, and came into an economy that, let's face it, can be anything but stable. But people think millennials are all drinking expensive coffee and blowing their money on luxury, but many of us are struggling just to make ends meet.
Right, but you're not the first generation that's both been struggling and been blowing your money, so that just goes, with the territory. I spoke with Helen Petersen about comparing the generations and what we can learn about the past and how we can help, put our feet down in the present and not be so overwhelmed.
And I think for a period of time there like people talked about, like my grandpa used his tea bags 4 times, right? Or saved every piece of tinfoil. And it was almost like a joke, like, oh, can you believe Americans did that? Of course I can. Like, it's much easier for me in these moments to understand why Americans are forced into those habits and that posture.
You millennials are the very first generation to actually have your picture taken before you were born, when you're in the womb and posted somewhere or mailed out, and then you're born and there's a camera in your face. And now we have social media, which is demanding your attention and demanding that you post, and it is just a crushing feeling on so many people in your generation and younger.
Right, I mean, I can't help but post because my son is adorable and I gotta take videos and pictures of him. But I mean, there's also the pressure of not doing enough, since there's always a way to get connected to our jobs, or even a way to earn a little extra cash through a gig job or something. And my generation has a lot of crushing college debt, so paying that down is a biggie.
Yeah, and we told you had to go to college in order to get a job, which you're not gonna make enough money to pay college back. And I spoke with Helen Petersen about what that's like and why you guys have to work all the time.
It's really hard, I think, sometimes to talk to older generations who have it in their heads that, like, I worked through college, why can't you work through college? If you took out loans, it's because you didn't want to work during college. But the amount of hours of labor that you would have to put in order to work your way through college, it would take most people, even just going to a state school, it would take most people 10 years to graduate if they were doing that.
Yeah, us millennials just look at the whole system and feel like a lot of it's against us, and it's exhausting. So no wonder there's so many energy drinks and yoga and self-care and all this stuff. We're just trying to get by, Sue.
I hear you. And in the words of the great philosopher Billy Joel, you didn't start the fire. We all live in a world we didn't create and we have to deal with it. Maybe once we get on the other side of this pandemic, we'll have an opportunity to take a breath, reset, and take a look at the things that we value and not be working 24/7 for the man, quote unquote, in order just to stay in the same spot.
Right, and I think we're going to be looking inside ourselves, finding out what works, what doesn't, and taking care of ourselves and each other. And you know how I take care of myself?
How do you do that?
Oh, I light a candle, a little key lime pie. This makes old Rob feel great.
That's delightful. I'm asleep right now, actually.
All right, okay, boomer.